All right, so first, what is central tendency? Central tendency is like the central location or the typical value that a probability distribution takes on. So these are things like the mean, the median, the mode, which you're pretty much familiar with already. These are summary statistics, are really what we're talking about here. So you know how to find the mean, median, and mode if we're talking about data that's given. But right now, what I want to talk about is how do you find the mean, median, mode if you're given a frequency distribution like this. So when we look at that, let's talk about mean first. Mean, the symbol that we use for mean is x bar. And this is talking about the average. So how you find the mean is, the mean equals the sum of each x value times its frequency divided by the number of the total frequency. So in this scenario here, x is each value, f is the frequency of that value, n is the total frequency, and this symbol here is telling you to sum. So now let's look at our example here and see if we can find the mean from this table. Okay, so first of all, note that you could find the mean the old-fashioned way, which is to say that you could actually add up each value individually. This means that there are 2 zeros, 1 1, 3 2s, 12 3s, etc. So if we were to add all those up, you can add them all up and then divide by the total. So we could do something like 0 plus 0 plus 1, 3 2s, 2 plus 2 plus 2, 12 3s, 3, 3. And I'm not going to go on. You get the point here. We could do it by adding them all up, but that's not the fastest way, right? So it's much better if we multiply each value by its frequency. So what we're going to do is we're going to multiply each each x value by its frequency. Okay, so 0. Okay, so 0 times 2 is 0. Okay, and just keep multiplying. All right, so now I'm still following the formula for my mean, which is that it equals the sum of all the f of x's divided by n, the total number for the frequency. So now I need to find the sum of all of these. So I'm just going to add up that column. So when we add this up, if we add up this whole column, we find that the total here adds up to 975. Now we have to find n, the total number of the total frequency of all the things. So that means that we have to add up this column as well. So if we add up each of these numbers, it turns out that the total is 151. Okay. So now I'm ready to find the mean here. Okay. So the mean is, okay, so I find the mean by dividing the sum divided by the total number of things that I'm adding, and I get the mean to be 6.46. All right, so now let's talk about the median. So the median is the middle value, right? If the things are arranged in order from smallest to biggest. So if you put them in order and you count evenly on both sides, that's how you find the median. Okay, and so now to find the median with data, what you're going to do is you're going to see what's the total number of things in that you have, and you're going to add one more than that, n plus 1, and divide by 2. Then the term that is in the n plus 1 divided by 2 term, that's the median. Okay, so for instance, let's say that there are 7 items. Okay, so there are 7 items. I'm going to say to myself, okay, 7 plus 1 is 8. Half of 8 is 4. So whatever the n is, you add 1 and divide that by 2. And that tells us that the fourth thing would be in the place of the median. So I come over 4. All right, now how would we do that with a frequency distribution? Well, with a frequency distribution, what we have to do then is find the first term, find the total number of terms. Here our n value is 51. 151 plus 1 divided by 2. So that means that we have to find the 76th term. Okay, in order to find the 76th term, I need to count down the frequency column until I get to the 76th one. So what I'm going to do here is make a column that can be my cumulative frequency. What that means is I'm going to add up as I go down. So here I have 2 things. Okay? But as I come down, now I have one more thing, so that makes 3. So now come down to here and add up all of the ones above here, adding 3 more. Okay, now I have 6. Adding 12 more, now I have 18. And I have to keep on adding down this column until I find where the 76th thing is. All right, so I've finished adding down the column, and I can see that it added to 151, just like I expected. So now, the 76th term looks like we had a bunch of 6's in row, and then we had 31 7's. Somewhere in the middle between here, okay, somewhere in the middle when we started adding up all these 7's, we got to the 76th term and we passed it. So it fell within here, okay? So I can see that within this bin, that when I got to the 76th term, I was adding a 7. So 7 is my 76th term. 7 is my median. So next, let's look at finding the mode. All right, and there's not really a big formula for mode, right? Mode is just the thing that occurs the most often. Okay, so mode is what occurs the most often, or the thing that has the highest frequency. So when we look at our data, we're just going to look at our frequencies here and see which one of these numbers in the frequency is the largest. And it looks like 31 is the largest number in the frequency column, which again means that 7 is my not only my median, but also the mode. Okay, great. And then last we have the mid-range. So you're already familiar with range, right? So range is the total values that are covered from you take the highest and the lowest and you subtract them, and the full range of things there between those is your range. Well, mid-range is the middle value of that. Okay, so to find the range, you're going to add the highest and the lowest values and divide by 2. So that's lowest plus highest divided by 2 in order to find the mid-range. The range is just the lowest to the highest, right? We're finding the average of those. Okay, so let's look at our example, and where would our mid-range be? Well, the lowest value that we have is 0, and the highest value that we have is 10. So the mid-range is going to be the lowest 0 plus the highest 10 divided by 2, which gives us 5 for our mid-range. Okay, so that's with frequency distributions. Now let's see if we can find the same information from a histogram. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is find each x value times its frequency and divide that by the total number of things that we're adding together. So when we look at our histogram, so it looks like from this histogram I can see that there are 5 10s. Okay? So my x values are here. Here's my x value of 10, and the frequency for that is 5. So it turns out that XF is actually just the area of each of these bars. So if I were to add up all of these 10s, it would be 10, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I would have to add 3 20s, right? So here I'm doing it the long way. But now instead of doing it the long way and adding them all up and then dividing by the total, instead I can just do the area of each of these bars. 10 times 5 is 50. 20 times 3. All right, so now I can, those are all of my x times f's, and now I have to find the sum. So the sum, let's add those all up. Okay, and now I have to divide by the total number of things that are being added. So what's my frequencies in this bar? Okay, so here I have a frequency of 5 and 1. So I need to add those up to find out how many total things are here. Okay, so that gives me what? 5, 10, 11, 12. So I have 12 things total. N is 12. Okay, and so when I add those together, that gives me 260. And 260 divided by 12 gives me the mean of 21 and 2/3. Next, let's find the median. And so we remember that in order to find the median, what we need to do is find the total number of things, add one more, and divide by 2. Then we'll have to find the term value that's in that spot. Okay, so we added the 5, 3, 2, 1, and 1 and found out that n is 12. So that means that our median is going to be 12 plus 1 divided by 2. Okay, so half of 13. Okay, so we have to find the term that would be in the 6.5 in order. So we can see that there's 5 things here. So, okay, so it might be easiest to count them by counting the squares themselves, right? We're going to come to the 6.5 thing. So here's 1 10, here's 2 10s, 3 10s, 4, 5. Now I come to 6. The 6th term is a 20. The next term is also a 20. So it looks like between 6 and 7 that my 6.5 term is going to be the average between these two. And both of them happen to be a 20. Again, if I was listing out this list of all of them, the 6.5 term would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 right here in between two 20s. Okay? So, looks like the median term is 20. And just to be cute, we could have counted from the other side as well, right? We could have said here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the 6.5 term would have still been right in the same spot. Or you just take the bars on top and add. Here's 5, 6, 7 must be somewhere in this column. All right, so next let's find the mode. And we remember that the mode is just the thing that occurs the most. It's the thing with the highest frequency. So that's pretty easy to tell from our bar graph because it's just the bar that's the tallest. So here, this one has a frequency of 5. So this is the bar that is our mode. It looks like there are the most 10s. Okay, and now let's find the mid-range. So to find the mid-range, what we're going to do is we're going to add the lowest value and the highest value and divide it by 2. Okay, so when we look at our data, we can see that the lowest value we have is in fact this 10 here. And it's important to note I'm talking about the lowest x value, not the one that has the lowest frequency. I'm just looking at my x values, and here's the lowest x. And here's my highest. So that means that my mid-range equals my lowest 10 plus 50, highest, and divide by 2. So the mid-range is 30. All right, great. So that's with the histogram. And now let's see if we can do the same type of thing with a stem and leaf plot. All right, so let's see if we can find the mean first. To find the mean, I need to add each value times its frequency, and then divide by the total number of things. Looks like I don't really have many repeats here, so I think I'm just going to have to add them all up, really. I've got 28, 32. Looks like I have two 34s, so I'm just going to go 2 times 34, 39. Again, I have two 40s right here. Okay, so I have listed out all of the values from the table, and I'm adding them all up. That's the sum of each f of each x times its frequency. Now we're going to divide that by the number of things, and we can just count the number of entries over here on the leaf side to see what our n is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10, n is going to be 10, so divide by 10. So what does that give us? That gives us 380 divided by 10, which means our average is 38. So now let's find the median. Well, the median is the average, is the middle value, right? So to find the median, I'm going to take the number of things, which is my n, add 1, and divide by 2. All right, so 10 plus 1, 11. Half of 11 is 5.5. So that means we need to find that number of value on our table. So let's just count to find what's between the 5th and the 6th element. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And looks like my 6th element is 40. So my median is halfway between 39 and 40. So it looks like what I'm going to have to do to find my median, since it's right between those two values, is find the average of them. So I'm going to say 39 plus 40 divided by 2, which gives me 39.5 for my median. All right, and then mode is the thing that occurs the most. And as far as looking for what occurs the most, it looks like I have a tie. Looks like I have a tie between 34 and between 40. So since there's a tie for what occurs the most, that means that there is no one thing that occurs the most. So no mode for us. Okay, and then we have the mid-range. So the mid-range, we're going to take the smallest value and the largest value and find the average of those. So it looks like my smallest value is here. That's 28. And looks like my largest value is here. That's 47. So the mid-range is going to be 28 plus 47 divided by 2, which gives us 37.5. All right, and that's how you find the mean, median, mode with different types of displays.